Joseph was born, first of all, right at birth, his mother passed away, right? He was sold by his brothers. He was without a father for majority of his younger life, right? He was thrown into a pit. He was sold. And not only, I mean, it's really a tremendous story. When you actually really start wrapping your head around the story of Joseph, speaking of trauma, he had so much trauma and could have just so fallen into depression and lack. But what did he do? Not only did he survive, and not only did he thrive, but what happened? Joseph, in the whole orchestration of these events, right? Everything again was by divine providence that he was sold, and then he became the Viceroy of Egypt. And literally, he not only survived and himself for himself, but he literally saved the whole Jewish people. Because what happened was, because he was this Viceroy of Egypt, he was the one that told Paro that they should put away food for the famine. And Paro put away food in the storehouses, and that is literally what saved the entire Jewish people. So again, Joseph, he was a channel for abundance to save the Jewish people from this famine, and through his channel for bringing material abundance to the world, he literally saved the entire Jewish people. Now, what was interesting about him, right? When he was sold by his brothers, put in this pit, and then became the Viceroy of Egypt. So he was away from his brothers, it says, for 22 years. And after those 22 years, when his brothers came to Egypt, it says that they did not recognize him. Now, what does that mean? Right? Like, if someone wouldn't see a brother for that long, it's still your brother. Like, what does it mean if they actually didn't recognize him? So it's explained, according to the mystical teachings, that they didn't recognize his service of God. In other words, the brothers were they were shepherds, they were living a life that was very spiritual. They were just involved in spirituality, and they were very aloof from the world. And it says, what does it mean that they didn't recognize him? That they didn't recognize his mode of serving God. They didn't recognize him, because Joseph was someone that not only was so connected spiritually, right? But he was also physically and materially and very much connected to this world. He was a viceroy of Egypt. He was living a very abundant lifestyle. It says he was very attractive. He wore beautiful garments. He was fully connected, not only spiritually, but also materially, also physically. His connection to the material world was very, very deep and very connected. And it says that his brothers, they didn't recognize that. And that's why they didn't actually recognize him. So how was Joseph able to remain so connected spiritually as well as physically, as well as in his connection to the material world? Because Joseph, it says, he was the tzaddik. He was the ultimate tzaddik. When we speak about a tzaddik, we're speaking about the first connection to this idea of a tzaddik in the Torah is this idea of Joseph. It says Joseph is Tzadik Yisod Olam, but he is literally a tzaddik who is the foundation of the world. And what is a tzaddik? A tzaddik, he is connected so up above to the spiritual worlds, to the energetic flow of the spiritual universes, that he's able to channel down the portal, the tzaddik, that he's able to channel down. Oh, sorry. I don't know what that is. There's like a funny noise. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Okay. That he's such a portal, that he's so connected up above, so connected to the spiritual world, that he's able to be a channel, a portal to bring down godliness into the material worlds. And even his name, actually, in Aramaic, his name in Hebrew, we know him as Joseph, but it says his name in Aramaic was Safnat Paneach. And what does that mean? In Aramaic, it means the revealer of secrets. In other words, he was revealing down below. What are the secrets? The secrets up above, the secrets of the spiritual world, the secrets of the higher levels of consciousness that he was literally a channel for in this world. right? And it says Tzadik Yisod Olam. Tzadik is a Yisod, the foundation of the world. And what is Yisod? If we look at the word for Yisod, Yisod in Hebrew is Yud. Sod. Sod literally means secrets, right? Sod in Hebrew means secrets. So the Yud, the Tzadik, is connected to the Yud, the level of Chachma, which is this portal for the higher levels of reality, for the spiritual worlds to come down into the material matters of this world. And that is what the Tzadik is. And that is what Joseph represented. That physicality and materiality of this world is one with God. It's not, there's no material and there's no spiritual. It's not like, oh, I'm a tzaddik, I'm just connected to the spiritual world, just this higher world of higher consciousness. It's no, like a tzaddik, a true tzaddik, is someone who is also connected physically down in the material world, connected to bringing godly consciousness and intentionality into the physical aspects of the world, into money, into how we eat, into how we have relationships. That is what a tzaddik is. And it's bringing up something so powerful for me because we just finished, we just had Lag BaOmer here. And I wasn't actually at Meron this year, but I was there for many, many years. And my son was just there this year. And he told me, he came back. And the first thing he said to me is like, Ma, I couldn't believe it. The amount of food that people were giving out there is like, he ate like gourmet steaks and people were giving out like rib steaks and why is that? Because there's an idea specifically connected to all tzaddikim, but I know specifically connected to the yahrzeit, the Hilulah of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, that in the merit of giving out food, specifically food, it says, there's that in that merit, big Yeshuas, big salvations are going to happen to people. So many people are there who don't have children or don't have a soulmate, and they're giving out food, like material food, and abundantly in order to bring down that in the merit of that, the tzaddik should channel down blessings and salvation into their lives. And actually, it's bringing up an amazing story that I remember a few years ago. We were they have these Lag BaOmer parades here. And the rabbi who was running the parade, all of a sudden he got a phone call in the middle and he answered the phone and he comes off of the phone call and he's like elated with joy. He's smiling. He's like almost dancing. And he said his story. He said that his sister was married for, I don't remember it was like more than 15 years and she hadn't had a child. And the year before that, on Lag BaOmer, she went to Meron and she brought food and drinks, and she was giving out food and drinks, and she wrote a little note on all the food that in the merit that she should have a child. A year later, on Lag BaOmer, she gave birth to a child. Like he got a phone call in the middle of this event that his sister had just given birth to a child. It was just like the most amazing experience. It was like so powerful to actually be there. And that really is what a tzaddik represents. And it says, V'amech kulam tzaddikim, that we're all tzaddikim. It says that every single one of us have this level, this point of the tzaddik within us. And what is, again, this tzaddik consciousness is this oneness consciousness. And there's no such thing as spiritual, physical, material, spiritual. It's one. It's just one. And our job in this world, again, is through intentionality, through our kavana, through being conscious. We can bring down and draw down godliness into this world through our connection to the to physicality. And I think this is really one very practical tool that I do want to say about manifesting abundance. And I think a lot of that is that we have a very deep subconscious belief. I know a lot of very spiritual seekers and people do that. In a way, if I have money and I have physicality and I have abundance, I'm not going to be living a spiritual life. It's like there's almost like what's the word for it? Like a separation. Like you can either be spiritual or you can be physical, and you can have material abundance or you could be spiritual. And it's like the more we have to literally rewire our consciousness about that it really is one, that it's not about like negating this world and not enjoying the world, but God wants us to enjoy the physical world. God wants us to have abundance. He wants us to be a channel for abundance. He wants us to have pleasure from this world, and that it's not a contradiction at all, the opposite. It's one. And the more that we, again, partake in this world, and the more we bring God into those experiences, for example, through tithing, through giving maaser money, we're bringing God into our business. And the more we recognize that, and we enjoy the physical aspect of the world with a sense that this is God. Like, this is God, and God put us in this world to have pleasure and to enjoy. The more we are a channel more and more and more for material abundance in this world. So first of all, I said a lot. Does anyone want to share, comment, anything? Like, does this resonate or feel familiar? I don't know, this the thing I'm speaking, what I'm saying. You want to share anything? Yeah, I guess like living in Spot. I mean, Ronnie is here, lives in Spot. There's like think of like a certain mentality a lot of times that people have that even like artists, I remember like my father, again, he was an artist, so I grew up like hearing all these stories about big famous artists that like the artists, like the very like famous artists who like after they die, their artwork was sold for like, I don't know, millions of dollars. In their life, many of them were very, very, very poor, very poor. It's like there was almost like this disconnect of like, I'm creative, I'm artistic, I'm spiritual. It's like, I'm not going to sell this art for a lot of money. I mean, I do think the world is changing. I don't think that there are artists now so much like that anymore. I think we are shifting much more into that in the world. But yeah, I think this is like a very important, first of all, like mindset that we have to have.